Howdy, 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 and welcome to another episode of the DirtInfo podcast. I'm Josh.
And I'm Carter. And if you could, we say this all the time, but please just like, comment, share. What else do we got? Review. Can't forget the
Review.
reviews.
Yep.
Um,
Any interaction helps.
yes. And with that, I guess we'll jump right in with Stylin and Profilin.
Yep.
And I'll go first. I got a Mike McKinney shirt on, and I wish I could remember where I got this. There's two places. It's either Fairbury when I went to their fall special, like 2 years ago, or at the
Okay.
Dome. The only reason I don't know if it's the Dome is he usually runs Timmy Curran's car, and it's number 12, and this is his like normal 96
Yeah.
car. But I guess he would still have
True.
96 merch available. So
Yeah. I mean, that's a merch paradise, so I would hope if he had it, he'd bring it. So, yeah. Could have got it at either place. I'm gonna say it's from Falls though, for some reason. I just think it would be. I think you would be more likely to pick it up at Falls for some reason. That maybe cuts against the look on your face, like.
I'm
But
just trying to, because he's with Race Ranch, right? McKinney, I believe, is with,
yeah,
and I know I went
or
to the
was
race. Yeah,
at least.
this would have been 2 years ago, so
Yeah,
I
I'm
could
not
do
sure
so.
for.
I just realized I probably could find it on my Twitter, but we'll
Yeah.
we'll screw it. It's one of those two
Mhm.
places. It
All
was a
right.
bull ring. I got it at a bull ring track.
Carter will fact check himself after this. Well, luckily I know where I got this. So I got this for Christmas from Sherry's mom, actually. So it's a Hot Carl shirt. I figured support the local racers as much as I support some of the national guys too. So Hot Carl's a fun follow, and I mean his number is the win one B main. Like his expectations are only so high, and I can appreciate that sometimes. You got to know who you are, you know. And if that's your top level, that's your top level. It's all right.
Has he raced yet this year? Do you know? I feel like I don't see as much from him
uh
on Facebook as I used to.
he was somewhere I was. I don't know if he actually raced
Yeah,
though.
he was
I think
there
he
though.
he was there. I don't know if I saw him on the track, to be completely honest with you. I think when I was at Ogilvy, and I thought I saw him roll in on the open trailer, and I don't recall seeing him on track. So take it for what it's worth. He came to party, I guess. Yeah. Um. Anyway, so I dig the shirt. It's always a fun wear. I have a million and one shirts in blue, so it's just yet another blue shirt some days. It works out well because, like, um, I go to a lot of youth sports stuff, and I mean, I figure if I just have enough blue shirts, they're blue. It all blends together. No one's looking at the graphics, so I just wear a race shirt, and as long as it's blue, I'm covered. So there's there's some thought behind it, but anyway, moving on now. Illinois Speedweeks. Nope, I lied. What did you do this weekend?
Well, unfortunately, I did not go to Illinois Speedweeks.
You
Um,
wish you did, though.
um, I was at Luxembourg Friday, who finally got a race in, and then Plymouth on
Yes.
Saturday.
All
After
right.
3 rainouts, Luxembourg finally. Oh, my dog's barking. Sorry if you can hear that. After 3 rainouts, they finally got a race in. And I think they had 122 cars. I don't know, it was good race for me. Track was good, so you never know with an opener. It can always be track can be iffy. So, and they were done
Yeah.
by like 10:15, so worked for me.
Well, to be fair, they had worked that track a lot.
Yeah,
It was
they've
not your
had it
typical
race
season
they've had
opener.
it race ready 3 different times. It was never like they
Yeah.
were rained out like a week in advance or snowed out or whatever. It was good up until like Thursday, Friday,
Yeah.
then it would rain.
A couple weeks there, they were playing it kind of to the end, weren't they? Like up to and including part of the day Friday, they
Yeah,
were trying to get it in, and just weather would not cooperate. So, um, yeah. How'd Benji do?
in the mod he was fifth, and in the stock car he won. So, and he was in the
He won.
54 stock car. Uh,
Oh,
last
he
time you
was.
saw him, he was in the number 7 car. So
He was. Okay, so is that the same 54? I mean, I don't know what we know, but
it's the 54 he drove last year. This from my
okay.
understanding, and then it got bought by one of his like friends, I guess, yeah, friends, and then he was
Uh-huh.
like, "Here, you can just race this now." So,
Yes, I'm pumped about that. So, right on. Uh, and then, um, So that was Biloxi, and then you
Yep, and
said
then Plymouth on Saturday, and
okay,
they had the Super 6 late models, and so Plymouth a few years ago used to run late models weekly, and late models are kind of just dying in like northeastern Wisconsin, so
okay,
they just did it where they run them like 6 times, um, and hoping maybe like if they're not there weekly, more guys will show up for like the 6 races, I think.
okay.
Um, and I feel like it kind of worked. I feel like they were getting like 10 to 12 or something, and now they're getting like 15 to 20-ish. So I
All
guess,
right.
and I don't think there's not there's maybe like 30 late model, 35 like at the most in our area, and most of them don't run every week either. So, um, and then they had sprint cars, B mods, and Grand Nationals, and you've seen the Grand Nationals, and
I
I think you
have.
saw about 4 or 5 of them because I think a
It
couple of
was
them were.
light. It was light.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's how it. I mean, it's usually not that bad, but usually like at most you'd see 15.
Hmm.
Um, so because of that, 141 dropped them this year. So now there's only 2 tracks that run them weekly. And one of the guys, Brad Miller, who actually races late model too, since like the division's kind of dying, he made like a little series between the 2 tracks. Like so some of the nights are like series races, and it's called the Dirt
Okay.
Devil Grand National Series. And their first race at Gravity Park, they like started the show and then it rained. I think they had like 25 that night, which is pretty good. But then their next race was this past Saturday at Plymouth, and they had 39 of them. I have never seen
Right
39
on.
Grand Nationals. I don't think ever like at a show. I've never seen that many. So
Oh, right on.
that was pretty cool that they had that many. So uh,
Yeah.
I don't
That's
remember.
pretty awesome.
Brian Gillis ended up winning. He was the winner. So
Okay. Heck yeah. He had to earn it.
he did.
He
Yeah.
probably hadn't seen 39 Grand Nationals
Well,
before.
probably not since like the early 2000s or something. You probably haven't seen that many.
So, all right. Well, that's pretty awesome. Well, I didn't do any racing. I was at a baseball tournament. Um, so that was fun. Kiddo's team advanced to the knockout round, which is always a win in these things, as far as I'm concerned. If you get to play Sunday baseball, that's always a win. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you want to look at it, they lost the fifth place, sixth place game. And so that meant they were done. So we had to be there at 8 and game was done at 10. But by losing on Mother's Day, we were done at 10. If they had won that game, we would have been locked in till 3 o'clock, no matter what, win or lose afterwards. So, like, it was a win-win for everyone. They advanced to the next round. They didn't hold us hostage on Mother's Day. Perfect. So,
Could have went to Granite City.
no, no, unfortunately, I could not. Again, it was still an 8 a.m. baseball game an hour away. Um, so yeah, I was up plenty early. And to be fair, you know what? I'm gonna be completely honest. I got up and tried to make it to that game, and I unfortunately did not feel 100. So I was up at 6 a.m. and I watched it on the phone. But I was making my way down there, and they lost. So I turned around and went and saw my mom. Is what I did, honestly. And then we went and saw Sherry's mom, and then it was late at that point, and I was beat. So I went home. But
If you were gonna go to Granite City anyways, you probably would have left at about 9 a.m. for the races. So
give or take, right? So that was hard with. Hey, I was just talking to Sherry yesterday about the possibility of us busting out the pop-up tent and the mini grill for the baseball tournament this upcoming weekend. So that thing's gonna ride again many times. I promise
you're gonna
you.
get there the same time as the grounds crew, or
Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't want to spoil it later, but we have to be there at 7 in the morning anyway on Saturday, and we have games at 8, 1, and 6. So I'm there all day long, no matter
no,
what.
thank you. I'll pass
It's
on
an
that.
hour away. It's an hour away. So I'm not making that commute, 2-hour commute back and forth for an hour at home. I'm sorry, the trade-off don't work. So, and the best part is it's like 90 all week, and it's gonna be like 50, maybe like low 60s on Saturday.
Oh, that's how
Wonderful.
it is here. It's like, well, not
Yep.
90, but it's like high 70s and 80, and then as soon as you get to the weekend, it
Yep.
cools off. Although it cools off a little bit too much because I think it's supposed to be like high 40s on one of the days, and that's not fun to stream in. So
No, no, bring some gloves. Anyway, anyway, well, that's what we did. So now this time, no pump fake. Illinois Speedweeks. I think we caught most of it along the way. I don't know that either of us locked in all 5 nights to watch every single race like Die Hard, but couple of takeaways I had: gorgeous weather.
yeah,
So that's not always the norm for them. As our buddy Brad said, that means Memorial Day up here is gonna suck. So I guess it's like a racing version of Groundhog's Day. If Illinois Speedweeks has good weather down there, then Memorial Day in Iowa, southern Minnesota is not great. So
I hope not, because I'm planning to go to Iowa the Sunday of Memorial Day weekend. So let's hope
no,
that's not the
no,
case.
let's hope that's not the case. The other thing that I thought was notable, very solid car counts. I don't know that I ever looked up the numbers on them, but they were in the 40s
It was
most
like
nights, give or take.
high 40s pretty much every day. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I think I'd heard Rigsby mention something like mini World 100 fields. I thought that might have been a
that's what Nick Hoffman tweeted.
okay.
And he was
Okay,
just referencing what Hoffman tweeted. Because even
fair
Rigsby
enough.
was like, I don't know if I'd go that far, but
Yeah, I was gonna say that feels a little maybe overstated, but they were dang good fields. There was no doubt about that. They ran deep. They had all the Illinois stalwarts there, and I don't know that any of those guys ended up getting to victory lane. It's mostly touring guys, but guys like Unziger ran well at certain points. Babb ran well at certain points, so they represented well. Um, this is like a hot take, if you will, but I actually love Ben and DJ in the booth. They're my favorite duo.
I
I
agree.
think,
I also
yeah,
like Ben and DJ. They just like some people don't like it seems like when announcers like have fun, but I like when they like
yeah,
mess around. I mean, if you're just
yeah,
sitting there during hot laps or something, like let them mess around or in between races and whatnot.
yeah. I would actually, when I was watching them at LaSalle the first night, because it's like good to have them back, I realized that almost unintentionally, kind of the way they announce is sort of what I think we're trying to do with this podcast in a way, which is like just be two buddies talking about racing.
Yeah.
Right? And that's how I feel like they do it. So it works for me. Like I watch them and I do feel like I'm hanging out with some old buddies. They got inside jokes and all kinds of other stuff that, if you've heard them announce long enough, you kind of get sometimes, and it's just it I dig it. They're without a doubt my favorite announcing crew. So
Them and I do like when Dustin and James Essex are in the booth and then Ben Shelton's pit reporting. That's also up
oh,
there
I
too.
agree. That
Because Dustin and there's times like during like Eldora and stuff where James is like dying of laughter from something Dustin
I
said or
agree.
whatever.
I agree. I do like that addition. I do like that addition. I agree. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Now you got me.
can we talk about too? You would have loved it at LaSalle and I think Spoon River too. There was fireworks going off for like half the feature. It seemed like just the
Oh, I
whole
loved it. I
the
loved
whole
it. I
race.
don't know if that was mistiming or intentional, but I loved it. Especially the LaSalle one. They were green when they went off, and it was a huge display.
Yeah, I don't know if they thought it was going to be like one or two went off and that was it. But yeah, it was like a 5 minute long thing because Ben and DJ like every couple laps like and the fireworks are still going off. They keep saying.
I would have loved that. That is so the Dirt Info mod tour. I think that's an addition, Carter. You're gonna be the camera up amongst other things, so I need you to figure out how we address this. But
You better hope for no cautions if you want your fireworks to last the whole feature, or you just buy a whole bunch. Doesn't matter how long the race goes, we
yeah,
keep lighting them.
just keep lighting them until it's over. No, I don't think I need them the whole feature. That's even excessive for me. But I think if you can get the first 5 laps in, that's great. But
Pictures,
those early,
it would make cool pictures. Like
it
they're
would.
racing and there's little because every now and then during 4th of July at Luxembourg, people will be lighting fireworks off like in the town right behind the track.
Hmm.
And like the photographer will get a shot of the cars going down the backstretch, and there's just fireworks. Like it looks like
Yeah.
sweet when you can get pictures like that. But I feel like it would be a little annoying if you're there. I don't know. I would be. I wouldn't be watching them if the feature was green.
I will say this, the one problem a little bit that just occurred to me is like I am there for the roar of the engines. I don't know that I wanted competing with the explosion of the fireworks. But if it's only a couple laps, maybe we let them go green once and ensure there's no like opening lap caution. And then we fire them off on lap 2. Everybody wins at that point. I'm in. You in? Does it sound like a plan? We've workshopped it. All right.
If we could last like 5 laps, I'll take 5 laps.
All
I don't want
all
I don't
right.
want half the race being fireworks.
God, we've gone off the rails so early in this episode. But anyway, yeah, I did like that. And then it wasn't as excessive as Spoon River, but it did still happen. It was only a couple laps that time though. But yeah, the racing was pretty good. I mean, everyone will probably know who won by now, but JD won a couple. I thought that was interesting. I don't peg him usually as like a bull ring driver. Maybe that's unfair, but when
No, I
you
don't either. I
dominate
mean,
Eldora that way,
I don't know if it was Illinois or Fairbury, but when he won, I think it was Fairbury. When he won at Fairbury, that was like the first time he won in a lot of. It was when he
a
last
lot
won
of it was
It
Fairbury,
was
yeah.
the Prater Classic was his last win
Yeah.
when he was in the Rumley car. However long ago,
Yeah.
I can't remember what year that was, 2015 or something
Seven,
like that.
17, 15, yeah, close
Yeah,
to a decade
it
maybe.
has been a long time since
Yeah.
he won at Fairbury. So
Yeah. Yeah.
who
So
was
that I mean
Thornton won one as well. He won Farmer City.
he
So
did. He won one, and then Bobby won the opener at LaSalle.
I feel
JD
like we're
won
missing
two.
someone.
JD won two, Spoon and Fairbury, and then Devin Moran won
Moran,
one. That's
that's who
kind
it
of
was.
like a boring one. If I remember, and I could be wrong, but I thought Moran kind of
He
won
kind of
easy.
dominated that one. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, the racing was good all around. Honestly, I caught it only once or twice, but I did like the Rigsby deal before. Again, just a vibe thing. Something about a guy in his
Oh,
basement,
the
I guess.
pre-race show. Yeah,
Yeah, the
I always like
pre-show.
those because they do those
Yeah.
for all the flow shows. I remember when I went
Yep.
to Illinois Speedweek in the first year they had it. I don't know if he did it this year or not, but he usually had a post-race show too. And we'd be in the car driving back to our hotel, and I'd have the post-race show on the way home.
Yeah.
So I always enjoyed those.
Yeah. Maybe we ought to do that sometime. I don't know. Thoughts? I dig it too. So we're not nearly as cool as Rigsby, but anyway, probably not worth it right now. But you get what I'm saying. I like that vibe. I do. Though when you, I guess, kind of, I like Rigsby and DJ and that whole crew. I guess if you will. So like I like listening to their opinions and stuff. So they do a really good job of that stuff. Um, on the mod side, I guess just real quick, there was a bunch of mods at most of these places too, and I was excited that they were running mods in support. Ledford won one night, Fallaway won another. Troutman picked up 2 wins. He was at Lincoln and Fairbury, and then Charlie Medford apparently retired and unretired to go win at Farmer City. So yeah, I don't think you caught much of Friday, but
No, I didn't catch any of it.
they did some pretty heavy rework before the features, and they caught Mefford. And I'm mad at myself. I can't remember, but I guess he's been crewing for someone. Might have been Hoffman. And he's like, yeah, I was so bad in these things, I quit. I didn't even know I was going to take it out until I came here. And then he ended up winning. So he unretired to win a race. He seems a little young to be coming out of retirement, but here we are. But anyway, I thought Illinois, I was excited for it and it delivered. I think that's kind of my takeaway. Do you have anything you kind of wanted to add?
Um, and I not really. I mean, I didn't watch too much of it because of one day I slept through it, and then the other 2 days I was I was at races, so I couldn't watch a ton. I thought LaSalle for being its first race back, had one of the better features. I think it rubbered with like 8 to go, only at one corner though, but like it was
Yeah.
still a really good race overall, I thought. So,
Yeah, I
but
thought so
LaSalle,
too.
cool to see LaSalle back, and it's actually not too far from me, so hopefully, uh, maybe not this year, but next year I can make a trip down there. So.
No? Yeah. See, streaming's good. It put on a good show. No, you want to go. It's always a positive.
I probably would have been there without streaming if they were open the last like 3 years. But
As long as they're having races, you'll go. I get it. But um But yeah, so that's kind of Speed Week put a cap on it. Lucas is we'll talk about them down in there in a bit, but they're running again, so we'll touch on those. I wanted to touch on some other results also. Uh, as far as like regional stuff is concerned, so like around us, stuff is kicking off. Our drivers are finally getting out and racing a little bit, and so worth mentioning, we didn't bring it up last episode, although we talked about bringing it up last episode. Was the Wasota Late Model Challenge Series kicked off this week? On Dirt Race Central, they had 3 races. I-94, Kevin Burdick beat Don Shaw in a last lap battle. I think a pass and then a repass all in one lap. And then on Saturday at Viking, Jeff Provenzino won. And then on Sunday at Granite, Cole Searing won. But I also did want to mention, you know how last week we were talking about Caden Blazer and we're like, oh, that's
Oh,
definitely
yeah.
a U. He was at 2 of these races in a modified. In a Wasota modified. So shows what we
Was
know.
he, do we know if he was in the Mars car or was it his own
Yeah, same
car?
car.
Okay.
Looked the same. Looked the
Yeah,
same.
it's
Same
then it's
car.
probably I didn't know if he
Yeah.
was in his was he 43, I think, normally. I believe is his number.
Yeah, I think so. But it was the same 438 car that
Okay.
he's been running, or 428. I think it might be
Yeah,
428.
28
I
would
don't
make
remember.
more
Yep.
sense.
Yep. But it's not like that Mars house car can't just swap over from you, or that they don't have
Yeah,
2 of them in
that's
the
true.
same wrap. I totally am not discounting that. But like, I don't know, he showed up and he ran well. They were halfway deep modified fields. So I think he picked up a 6th and a 2nd and then didn't race Granite, but I think a lot of the guys following that series did skip that one because I think there's some drops involved and stuff. So a lot of guys went home for Sunday. So, but anyway, and then the other one, which is interesting, it's like in between the 2 of us, but it's all these drivers we've all talked about a bunch. But SLMR has been running, but this is sort of the first week it came across my feed, if you will. But on Friday at Stewart, Dylan Thornton won $3,000, and then on Saturday, and this one surprised me, at Independence, which is the a track you've been wanting to get to.
Yep.
Dallin Murdy won for 3,500. So I didn't fully realize he was running not only a late model, but I think he's running the series. I think.
He might be. I don't know if he's running the series, but I knew he had a late model.
Okay.
Because he's been running some other like show. It was not SLMR, but I think it's like the same. And it's the Pro Late Model
The
thing, which
pro
I
late
think is the
models, which
exact
is
same
another series I
cars.
realized
Yeah.
exists today. Yeah, but yeah.
It's more like a few of the Eastern Iowa tracks. They don't go like as far as SLMR does. But yeah, he's been running it this year. I think this was the first year he was in one, and
Yeah.
I feel like he won one more, or maybe had like a really
I
good
think he did
run.
have another one.
Yeah,
I think maybe it was in a pro late model.
I think it
I was
was.
doing a little bit of light digging, but yeah, he's definitely won. But this was his first SLMR win. But I also thought it was interesting. It's like a lot of the guys this is before we had a podcast, but a lot of the mod guys we used to like argue back and forth about like who are they, IMCA or something else, but they're all popping up here. We've got Dallin Murdy, which is stock car, like we mentioned, but Tim
And Mod.
Ward, Tom Berry, and Mod, and Tim Ward, Tom Berry Jr., Dylan Thornton was there. A guy I've talked about a little bit more, like up in USRA land, JT Wasman, was running a modified last year. Now he's running down there. Jacob Hobscheit as well.
Oh yeah.
So just like it's interesting. And then you've got like the old guys, if you will, are like the really good veterans from the area. Jesse Sobbing, Chad Simpson, and Blair Nofturf is running this thing too. So I'm listing off a bunch of names, but I guess I'm trying to just justify why I'm finding this so interesting, if you will. It's all these guys on this show and before the show that we've all argued about and talked about and stuff. So it's interesting. We may talk about it again, we may not, but I don't know. I think that's the whole point of this thing sometimes, to just talk about what we find interesting. And I went down a rabbit hole on this thing.
I do think it's interesting. Like 2 or 3 years ago, it seemed like all the IMCA guys were like their next step was like running USMTS, and now it's more just running the late model. Like they
Yeah,
because like was it 3 years ago when they had like a ton of cars at every USMTS race, and Dylan Thornton was
yeah,
there, Tom Berry, like
yeah.
all those guys were there, and now
Yeah.
They just said, screw it, we're just gonna run late models. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know what caused the switch, but
Yeah,
not
I mean,
complaining.
it's also interesting that you make that point, and it's a good one. And I know it's like kind of mostly the this year development, but a lot of these guys were dabbling at the end of last year. It is interesting. We've talked about the USRA having their regional series to try to build up their ranks again. Maybe that is in response to this, or maybe this is I don't know if they're connected at all, but it's an interesting cross section of two observations that we've had. So I like that you kind of picked up on that, because these I think part of the reason we argued so much about them is they were running USMTS, and I was like, no, they're USMTS
They
drivers.
weren't.
Like,
They were they're IMCA though. They're still IMCA.
right? So anyway, we'll probably chat about it again. I bet you might even see one of these races and see these guys firsthand. So it's interesting.
I'll probably see them in a late model and a mod at some point this year. So
Yeah,
honestly,
yeah.
within about 2 weeks of like 10 days with each other. So with the clash and then another race like a week and a half later. So
Yeah, right on, right on. So don't be surprised if we chat about these guys again. And it's just closer to where we are and what we watch and who we watch. Anyway, I'm just fine. Clay County was your one for the road 2 weeks ago.
oh, your mic. Oh, you got him.
Hello?
There you
There we
are.
go. I don't know. I touched something. Um,
Not me this week.
no. Yeah, how about you calling your shot at the very end? I doubt anyone saw it, but it happened. Anyway, Clay County. You talked about it 2 weeks ago. We should probably mention who won that race. So tell us.
Oh, I watched the highlights and I know who won, and it's feel like it's so long ago now that I
It's
can't
been
remember who it
so
was.
long. I wrote it down so I
I
can bail you
yeah,
out.
say the name. I know how the finish went.
Austin Bronner.
Okay, yep. Yeah, he passed Kelly Shyrock on the I think last corner. Like
Okay.
it was kind of locked down on the bottom, and he just used the front bumper. So like I'm just gonna that's kind of the only way to pass, and he got by him. And then in his interview in Victory Lane, he was like, "Look, I love Kelly. I looked up to him, but for $5,000, yeah, I've got many chances at this, so I'm gonna do what I have to do." So
I respect that.
yeah.
Yep. Yep. Interesting. So way back storyline. Um, IMCA stock car. You may be able to pull this, so I'm not going to ruin it. But do you know who came home third in that race?
Cole Sharneski.
No,
No, I knew
but
he
good
led part
guess.
of it. I knew he led
Good.
part of it. That's why I thought it was
Yeah.
him.
He came home fifth. Dallin Murdy came home fourth, but Shelby Williams came home third.
Oh, okay, yeah. I knew he was there. I didn't realize he was
Yeah,
third.
yeah. So that's a good throwback. And then the mods were there. Grabowski won both nights. Anyone that I guess there's like a prelim feature or something. I don't know how this was all structured, but
No, it was just two full shows.
okay. Oh,
So
two
like
full shows.
so Sunday I think was it 2,000 or 1,000 to win for the
Okay,
stock car,
yeah.
something like
It
that.
wasn't the big money
And then but
one.
it
Yeah.
didn't play any factor into Monday's
Oh,
show. It was no
okay. Well,
yeah. So
I thought they were connected in some way. So then, interestingly enough, Grabowski won 3 of 4 features. He won mods and stocks the first night and mods the second night. So he cleaned up a bunch of money there.
fortunately couldn't win the one that paid the
The big
most,
one.
but still a good
Yeah,
weekend
baller.
or
It's still a
week, whatever
solid
you want to
weekend.
call it.
Yeah. Anyway, speaking of good weeks, Max Blair, just quickly, I'm sure you caught some of this, but he left. He was running flow for a few days, and apparently that didn't go the way he wanted. So he headed back home and ended up winning something like 5 races in 3 days.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
He
So
won like the super, I don't know the exact number, but a couple of them were super late model featured, and the other ones were like the Rush late models, which I believe are
yep,
crates.
yep,
I
yeah.
think
So
he won like 17 grand and those like total, like 17.5 or something. I saw that on Facebook. But
okay, I couldn't find a couple of the numbers, so I didn't want to throw one out. So think that's awesome you found that. I also saw that the super win, which was the last win on the weekend, was his 400th career win as
Oh,
well.
yep, I did see that
Yep.
too.
Yeah. So that's an interesting weekend. To be like, the hell with it, we're out of here, and then go win a bunch of money in races in your hometown. But anyway, so that probably wraps up most of the results we wanted to talk about, and also rolls right into the World of Outlaws. So the World of Outlaws are heading that way. Maybe Blair just beat them to it. Saved on gas. I don't know, but they're heading out there this weekend. They've got 3 races.
It's three.
Thursday,
Oh,
it's 3. Yep,
thought they ran
or
Sunday for some
4.
reason.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's 4.
yeah,
You're
the
right.
Thursday to
I
Sunday,
wrote
right?
it down wrong, but it's 4. Yeah, Thursday to Sunday. So Raceway 7, which is in Ohio, but I think what we found out 6 minutes via road to
Yeah,
Pennsylvania.
yeah.
Yeah, all right. And then Friday and Saturday they're at Marion Center, and that's where one of the big money ones is 30,000 on Saturday for that one. And then actually the Sunday show's pretty big too. They're at Bedford for 20,000. So not a short amount of money available.
Was this last year? I think they went to during this swing. They went to Path Valley Speedway.
I believe so.
And I wish they went there. That's like a quarter mile little track and not
Okay.
a big track like Bedford. And I think Raceway Seven's kind of big. I don't think
I
Marion
think so.
Center is that big though. I think it's just kind of flat, but I don't think it's that big.
Okay.
If I remember
If
right.
as long as it's wide, it's flat and wide. I have this theory: flat and wide tracks produce bangers. Um, so if it's flat and wide, maybe it'll be good. But I was kind of curious, given how much money Max Blair just won in Pennsylvania. Do you think he picks up one of these races?
Um, I'll say he wins the first day at Marion Center.
Okay. Okay. So you're saying he definitely does, or you think he will. I was with you, and I was also going to pick Marion Center. So just to be different, I'm going to say the big money one on Saturday. So, but I do think he'll pick up a win on this swing, and I do. If I was calling my shot, I think it's Marion Center as well. So, um, those should be interesting races. I'm sure I'll catch the winners somewhere.
I'll probably watch Thursday because I'll be home. But that
You
is the
think
only day
so?
I'll be able to watch, weather pending. I might be able to watch more, but
Yeah.
I'll probably have it on one of my screens on Thursday.
I was gonna say I will most likely be watching Lucas, but then I realized you have more screens going than I usually
Yeah.
do. So I usually just have it on the one. I'm the old man who just focuses on the one. But I'll be probably watching Lucas, who is at Eagle Raceway for the High Bank Heist. So that's another plus in my column. When you have a good event name, I like High Bank Heist. That's a solid one.
That sounds like it should
Um,
be a high limit race, like the name of it.
it does a little bit, doesn't it? Maybe that's why I dig it. Who won?
Rico. Rico won
Okay.
tonight.
All
They
right.
were at Kokomo as of recording, so my point. I didn't actually get to see the finish, but I saw a lot of fans clapping. So I don't know if it's because they love Rico or if because it was a really good finish, but it was .101, so
I'm
that's
guessing it
kind of
was pretty
close.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably decent
Anyways,
finish. Anyway, moving right past that. But yeah, I do agree. It sounds like one of their events, and that's probably why I like it a little bit. But 10K on Thursday, Friday, and then 50,000 on Saturday. So that's a pretty big deal. Um, yeah, I hope they get a bunch of cars. We looked it up. I don't think they had a bunch midweek show last week
they had
or last year.
they had like mid to low 30s last year
Okay.
for their
So
was like a Wednesday or something last year they had it on.
okay. Well, that a Wednesday probably
Yeah,
didn't help.
didn't help. No.
But I think that race was a banger. I'm pretty sure that race was an absolute banger, and hence why they got this event. So my memory is probably pretty right on that. So I always like when a track puts down a good race and they get rewarded with something like this. So I'm hoping the cars come out for this. I do. We talked about it a little bit before. Sort of prelude the Mars late models and mods are running at what do we have?
Quincy, Highland,
Quincy and Highland. I
and
think that place is
there one more
Quincy.
place. Are they at Tri-City or is that not this week?
Don't believe it's this week.
Okay, Quincy and Highland for sure. I guess yeah,
Yep,
because
Quincy.
Tri-City wouldn't be on a Sunday, I don't think. So yeah,
Yep. Yep. So I'm of the opinion that might like hurt the car count a little bit. I hope not. You seem confident it won't, and I hope you're more right than I am. But I
No,
would
I don't.
just
I just don't see any besides like a Shannon Babbitt, maybe a Fager. I don't think any of those Illinois guys are gonna go to Nebraska. They don't
yeah.
even go to like Indiana for like Brownstown half the time. So
You make a point. It's like the PA sprint car drivers; they don't leave the porch.
yeah,
Plenty
like
of plenty of racing to be done there.
I feel like the only time they really, I mean, like they leave for like Mars races and then like one's like right on the border, like maybe like a Davenport or something, which is right on the Iowa-Illinois border. But that's pretty
Yeah.
much it, it seems like.
All right. So I hope it doesn't. If you had to venture a guess, and I know this is more throwing darts than any real educated guess, what do you think the car count will be?
Um, 39.
Oh, I like that. I like that. I don't even know that I can say that it would be over that. I would just be really pleased if you were right. But I'll throw out a number. I was thinking closer to like 36, honestly, is what I think
And
it
I
was
was just
gonna
going last year if they had like, 33 or whatever for their weekday show. I'm just assuming maybe if you guys can show up for a
be.
weekend.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. For some reason I thought they had less, but I can't remember the number. So if well, operating from the premise of 33, yeah, maybe 40. Shoot, I'll be the optimist as I always am. 40. Let's just go a cold 40. I'll do the Price is Right strategy and go one over you. So,
I know we trying to do this. I'm gonna do some live research because now I'm just curious because
okay.
what did they get? Here it is. I may have been looking at the support class. Okay, yeah, they had
Okay.
27. I lied.
Okay.
Oh, Marshalltown had, I was looking at, I was confusing it with their
Oh,
flow night. Yeah, they had
fair
27. Ooh,
enough.
39 might be too high then.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I was like, I'd be really pleased, but I couldn't remember exactly what the number was. I just thought it was lower than the one you said. So anyway, uh, let's stick with it. You said 39, I said 40. We'll be optimists, and it's okay if we're wrong. We were rooting for the right outcome. We'll just go with that.
And speaking of Marshalltown, before that, Marshalltown, it'll have
Yeah.
happened when this comes out, but Marshalltown has the flow night in America.
Yep.
Um, and unfortunately the late models are the support class because the mods and stock cars are there. But
I mean, I maybe that's a preview of what the Eagle field will look like. Maybe that'll be our free preview of what the Eagle field looks like. But because it sits in a weird place where we don't know who wins, but by the time this comes out, everyone knows who wins. Let's just make a fool of ourselves and make a pick. Who you got to win?
you're talking about the stock cars, right? The
Sure.
headliner.
Start there. Start there. Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
I'm
Let's
gonna
pick
take
the.
the
We could pick the
go.
stock cars for the fun of it.
Yeah.
I'll go. Oh, I don't know who's gonna go there. Um, assuming Dallin Murdy shows up, I'll go with him.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Jimmy Gustin.
That's a good pick. And then we'll do the late models. I'll go.
Okay.
Ooh, is Pierce gonna go? I feel like
Yeah, that's a
feel
tough
like
one because
I
we
feel like he'd go. Like I feel like he always runs the flow things. I'm gonna go Pierce, assuming he's going there.
Okay. That's a fair one.
It's
I'm
probably
gonna
posted if he's going and we just haven't seen, so we probably look
All
like
right. Well,
idiots.
let me chew on this. I'll talk through it for a minute. I wanted to do Ryan Gustin again, or I want to do Ryan Gustin and do Jimmy and Ryan Gustin as the picks, but I don't know that it'll be there. Much to your point.
I will say, um, it was a couple years ago. I know Ryan ran it, and he had to be, and it was the next day that they had to be in Pennsylvania, and he
Okay.
made it. And now got a whole day in between. They got plenty of time.
Yeah, they do have a whole day in between. But it is still almost Pennsylvania that they have to get to. You know what? Let's do it. Yeah, I'm gonna do Ryan Gustin. You took the risk that Bobby will be there. I'll take the risk that Ryan Gustin will be there, and I'll pick him to win. And it'll be a hometown favorite takes down the big dub. So
Even though he didn't actually run Marshalltown that much because he never really ran IMCA. So
right. But he's from there. I mean, that's really kind of what it is. But yeah. So, speaking of stock cars and mods, just kind of worth mentioning. So USRA Ironman fire off this weekend. They're at US 36 and I-35. And I believe those were backup tracks for you a few weeks ago. So what state are those in?
Missouri.
Yes.
US 36 was for sure a backup, and then we ended up in Alabama. But I that's like I think it's a quarter mile. I just know it's very high banked. The World of All the Sprint
Okay.
Cars went there last year, I think, and it was pretty good. So
Okay. Okay. Well, those should be some pretty good races then. 1,200 up top for each of those. And then when this episode comes out, so basically today at Stewart, they've got the Dynamic Drivelines Dirt Duel. And it's 2,000 to win stock cars, 1,000 to win hobby stocks. So those are the two highest paying classes at this thing is stock cars and hobby stocks. But what I thought was interesting is top four in I think at least stock cars, hobby stocks, mods, and sport mods all get a drive shaft from Dynamic Drivelines. I think that's kind of cool. So I also think $2,000 for stock cars is noteworthy. If not, we talked about one for $5, so I know they get bigger, but I thought it was noteworthy. Like I said, hobby stocks 1,000, mods 600, sports mods 500, and then they got a class I need to find more of is mini mods, but they got the mini mods and the
yeah,
sport compact.
they're not like mod lights.
Okay.
So they're like smaller, I think, but I
Okay.
think they're still
I
kind of fast. Like
I
they're not.
feel like I feel like I saw these at Mason City once.
Yeah, I think they're similar
Okay.
to some of the USRA tracks have those like outlaw
Yeah.
mini mods. I think it's something like that.
Yeah. Okay. So I thought those were pretty neat. I kind of wanted one, and then I'm like, I don't think you fit, bud. So, but anyway, so that's I thought that was neat. So I wanted to bring it up. And then on the modified side, the Heartland Modified Tour is running again this weekend at Salina and 81. I realized I forgot to give the results for those before. So Tanner Mullins won. They only got one of two nights in, and Tanner Mullins won at Lucas for 2,000, and he won a late model feature the night before for 1,000 as well too. So I think he's won 3 straight late model features, and then because he's now a full-time late model driver, he went back to where he started and won a mod race. But anyway, and then oh crap, I forgot Mod Mafia. So Mod Mafia as well ran 3,000 Winchester, and do you know who won that race?
I do. Kyle Strickler won that. I'm sure
Yeah.
you were all jacked up when that happened.
Oh yeah, that definitely was a hearty 2 clapper. So anyway, but yeah, right on. So that's kind of what we're keeping an eye on this weekend, and an impromptu results recap as well. So Carter, I think that's all we wanted to talk about, except for what we're doing this weekend. We skipped that up top, so we'll do it now. Where are you racing this weekend?
Luxembourg, like normal. But then Saturday, Sunday, well, it's not really that different. But I'm not at Plymouth this week. They have IRA, so Flow is covering that. So I'm just gonna go to
Okay.
141 for their weekly show. And then Sunday I go to Angel Park, which is in Sun Prairie. It's like right by Madison, Wisconsin. And they got IRA, sprint cars, and then the Badger midgets. So last year I went there, and they had 3 divisions. They had the Legends as well, and the IRA sprint car feature got curfewed out. They got like 12 laps in, and then the curfew came, and they have like a very strict curfew there. So
Okay.
I'm guessing that's why there may only be 2 divisions this time to hopefully not have that happen.
Yeah, that's not the one you want to get curfewed out, I don't think. But
No, they did get the other 2 features in though last year. So
oh, I'm sure the IRA guys were pleased
yeah.
about that. uh, so, all right, 141 this past weekend. I know you didn't go there, but this past weekend, did they have an increase? Did they go up again?
No, they had their worst car count of the season, 182. They're in rough shape,
Oh,
only 182.
whoa, they're in shambles. All right. Well, I was gonna say, did they clip it again? But I don't know. What do you think? Does it go up or down? Let's just do that. You're gonna be in the house, so that's obviously bringing a few cars. But does it go up or does it go down?
I'm gonna go off the fact that Friday looks like rain, And if Friday washes out, I think more guys will come, like will run
Okay.
Saturday. And I think last week was the first week where Plymouth and Shawano both ran. And Plymouth has, I guess they only have one class that overlaps, and that's the sport mods. But then Shawano has all of them besides the street stocks. So like some guys went there.
Mhm.
Um, but this week now Plymouth doesn't have sport mods, so a lot of those guys will come over. Shawano still runs, but so I think I'll go
It's
197. I'll say
okay.
197.
All right. I like it. All right. Well, we'll check in next week and see what happened. But Saturday, no rain. Saturday looks clean so far.
It looks clean, I think. I guess it depends on what you
Eh.
get Friday. Although if 141 seems to kind of run no matter what, so I think they'll be okay.
Okay. All right. Cool. Cool.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Sunday looks
And
good
so,
for sure. I think Sunday will be the
yeah.
safest bet.
And Sunday, you're on the cam though, right?
Yeah.
You on the camera? Okay. I would for a second there. I was like, You just said IRA does the filming, but I
Yeah,
think
with
you're
with
but
with
you're doing it for the
Badger,
Badger name.
they like tape it. So even if it's not, so like if IRA's if Flow's not there or Dirt Vision, then it's live. When they are there,
Okay.
they at least record it so they can put it up for
On
people to
demand.
watch that may not have Flow or whatever. Yeah.
Okay. I dig that. I like that. It's classy. So, all right. Well, I kind of mentioned it up top, but I'm going to baseball. So, I'll be baseball and nice and hard. Weekend after though, I think I get to get out to a race. So soon, but not this weekend. Thing is I'll come back looking like I was at a racetrack. But anyway, that's what I'm doing. All right, that is actually everything, right? I'm not forgetting anything.
Uh, I believe so. Yeah, I think that is everything.
Okay. That means, Carter, it's time for
One for the road. And I realized as we were filming, I did not have a one for the road.
you don't have one for
But
the
I
road.
thought of one about 20 seconds ago. So I always talk about 141's insane car counts. And a track that we talked about on this episode, Eagle Raceway, they're another track that gets crazy, crazy car counts. Their last three weekly shows, they had 150 last week, and then 170, 148, and then their opener they had 172, and they run five divisions weekly, I believe. So they are getting, yeah, five divisions. So they are getting like 150-ish average every single week out in Nebraska. So it's cool to see, especially the IMCA tracks. I don't know what it
Yeah.
is, but they are them. Boone's another one too, but 141 they're getting like crazy, crazy good car counts, and they're all at least those three I know are like known to be very efficient. So
Okay. Right on. Well, you know what's funny is you said you didn't have one, and I went into a minor panic attack realizing I only have an update on my last one, and I forgot to write one down. So let's see how this goes and how well I can dance on my feet here. But anyway, as far as update on last episode, I talked about the Dirt Race Central update or the Dirt Race Central power rankings, and it looks like we got a little bit more information. I could still stand to get some more, but we got some. So we know now that who's involved here is all of Minnesota, Western Wisconsin, Eastern Dakotas, and then also Thunder City, Victory Lane, and Dead Horse Creek. So that's your
region.
map, your region, but I don't know how west or how east western Wisconsin goes.
I think
Or
it's pretty
west east.
much like to like Rice Lake area.
It it
Because
probably ends wherever the last WSOTA sanction is, and
yeah,
is just kind of scooping everyone through there. It'd be my guess. Yeah.
they're hating on Eastern Wisconsin, hating by me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I did wonder out loud last time, like, I guess it's FYE that it's on, but I, I think there's anyway. But I was wondering if like we'd see Benji and Cole get looped in, but apparently we're not gonna. So
Although, so I did see, I don't know if you saw, they replied to someone's comment. So like car count plays an effect on it.
Okay, I
on
didn't
the
see this.
formula. So now maybe they're not included in Eastern Wisconsin because if you did 141 win at 141, we're freaking boosted to the top with if you got like 48 mods or something.
Okay. Okay. So you found even more. I missed that. So apparently
Yes, they
there's some
replied
weight for car
to a
counts.
comment. There's a couple more I wish I could remember, but I know car count plays a factor into their formula.
Okay. And was this like today you saw this or
It was earlier
on
this past week. Yeah,
okay.
you'll be scrolling for a little bit if you try
All
to
right, I'm
find
not
it.
gonna
So
I'm
we'll
not gonna
save
push
you the
the
time.
issue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, that's sort of my one for the road update. As for the moving forward, I actually don't have one. I can't tap dance. I had we had all this stuff written down, and I was like, surely one of these things will be my one for the road, and we talked them all in. And so anyway, how about this? I gotta give them something. So Northern All Stars late models and mods are running this weekend. The late models run 2 nights, and then the mods are only running Saturday. I believe it's 5. I think I deleted it all, so I don't even know what it is. But anyway, they're running this weekend. I'm still interested in following along what's going on with the mods, but after seeing sort of Illinois Speedweeks and a lot of guys running a ton of Mars stuff, I don't know. I think like their mod field's sort of scattershot, and it's just kind of whoever's in the region that they're running, which is totally cool. At least they're paying halfway decent money, but it doesn't look like there's a lot of people following it. So
They're
that's kind of that.
you never say where they're at. They're at Circle City and Lawrenceburg.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and the mods are only at Lawrenceburg.
Only at Lawrenceburg,
I
which I'm bummed about because a few weeks ago I had seen that they were going that Northern All Stars was going to Circle City, and I thought for sure mods are going to be there.
they
But
are running mods, so it's kind of
they are
strange. I don't know. Maybe there's like another mod special going on, and that's why they're not
okay.
doing it. I'm not really sure. Yeah, it's kind of strange they're not running. If they're gonna have mods, you might just make it a Northern All Stars
Yeah,
race. But there may be
you
a
think
reason
so?
behind it that we just don't know. So
Could be. There's nothing on the big database, but that doesn't mean there's not, something that wouldn't hit our threshold, but is still going on. So could make sense. But anyway, I'm glad I saved it right at the end, and then you helped me save it more. So I appreciate that. But anyway, I think that's everything, Carter. We got it all, yeah?
I think so. Yeah,
All right.
I hope
What
so.
we I hope so. That's too late now. We're closing it out. If you're still here, absolutely drop a like. We appreciate y'all for sticking around and tuning in. And we'll see you again next week.
See ya.